No, he's more southern, mate.
Oh man, you went southwest.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
that
this is Kentucky, mate. Whereas if you go down to Georgia, it's more like throw shrimp on the barbie.
Oh man, you're so good at accents, but you're not. Just your geography is terrible. So
Have you ever had a dream that you had to do so much you could do anything?
So, Drew, I'm biased to you being my favorite guest that we've had on, not just because of you're so enigmatic, and I didn't just learn that word recently, but you're also.
Why'd you just read that off your
I didn't
phone?
know. I don't. So, but great name. I think when you get the chance to be a Drew and you were born an Andrew, then. And you make that change. It's a big moment in our lives. Were you born an Andrew?
Yeah, and you're right. It was a conscious choice.
Yeah. Do you remember when for you?
Oh yeah.
When was it?
I just started college.
Wow.
And I'm there on campus at Lipscomb University. Shout out to the Bisons. They add an S on the end, even though bison is plural.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, unnecessary S.
But maybe it's like multiple herds. Like if you're like, look at all those bison, like with fish and fishes.
I never thought of it that way, and I like the grace that you're giving them.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact it's an institution of higher learning that doesn't know grammar. We'll give them that.
Wow, these are all so fancy words. I don't feel bad about saying enigmatic earlier.
Oh, I got a million of them.
Oh my God.
So I'm on campus, and I remember it just occurred to me. We're doing all these mixers, and it just literally the thought occurred to me. Hey, no one knows me here. There was a few people. My roommate I knew, but most people, and I could tell them my name is Drew instead of Andrew, even though it had always been an Andrew. And I just started doing it. People would say, hey, I'm Tom. I'm like, I'm Drew.
Yeah.
And they're like, great. And then I had this moment shortly after where people would come up to me like, Drew. And I'd be like, that feels weird. That feels nice. No, it was weird at first. Was it weird? Yeah, I was having kind of an existential crisis. Like, did I mess up? I'm Andrew. But then I started liking it, and my dad is the only one holdout who still
says Andrew.
Yeah. This is my son Andrew.
Yeah, there's no real shaking that. I don't think parents are like, I named you this, and you will wear it.
Yeah, he was always that way though. He always hated nicknames.
Yeah.
He would never allow nicknames. Wow. And he would say it that way. He's like, I named you Andrew. You're going to go by Andrew. Okay. I don't know why I said it in that voice because he's Southern. That sounded like he was from, I don't know, the Northeast.
It did. It did have like a touch of like Northeast, but I'm not going to, if that's how he comes out to you, then that's how he.
I just think,
But honestly, do you ever think that you'll be an Andy? Because okay, thank God.
Absolutely. Because do you feel that way too?
I would never be I would rather die than someone calls me Andy.
So you're an Andrew?
I was born an Andrew.
So tell me your moment.
Sure. My moment was in, I was just after coming from one place to another place. It was like a big move. It was a big transitional moment in my life. And I grew up in Indiana, and then we moved to Vegas when I was like 9 or 10. And so in the third grade, there was another kid in my class. His name was Andrew, and he was a fucking, he was just every predictable thing that a person could do, he was just doing it. And he was just like, he was like, I buy hot lunch. And I was like, okay. So I was just like, I was like, okay.
What does that mean? So you were given the cold lunch, but you could pay more and get the hot lunch?
Yeah. And he paid.
I was homeschooled a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he paid. So he showed up. He had income, and then he presented
his dad won at gambling. At Vegas.
Yes.
And your dad lost.
Yeah. So when my dad lost, he had me. And so Drew. No, you're not the only one with dad issues, Drew. And so actually, I love my dad very much. He's a very nice guy. He's Southern Northeast, and I saw him and I was like, I'm not that. And then there's just something about a Drew that is so like, we're silly and I don't like to ever say funny, but we're like just offbeat. That's what I would say. Little offbeat.
Drew Carey.
Yeah, a lot of good Drews.
Yeah.
We have Barrymore. Yeah. We have.
Well, as a server, so I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, please do it more.
Listener, I'm not sorry. You probably, if you're watching this, you could tell I was not, but I just want the listener to know. Also, it's really hard to concentrate when you're talking to a man sitting on a large banana with a crown on.
I need
talking
you to
about his
make eye
daddy
contact.
issues. But anyway, that aside, I have no idea what I was talking about.
No, you wanted to interrupt me to say something about Drew's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As a server in restaurants,
Yeah, you're
I
a
did
server.
that for years. That was like, I would say, hey, I'm Drew. I'll be your server tonight. Some of the places I worked wanted you to do that.
That
right?
sounds so nice.
And oh yeah, just rolls off the tongue. I mean, the tips, they start putting money in your
Right
apron,
there.
right there, just like stuffing it in. But there was the one that the guys would always say, oh, like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
That was their joke. That was like their big funny.
Super funny.
Because there's something funny about that to people. Like I just labeled you a woman's name.
Now you're just like
and I
Drew
was just
Barrymore.
like, yeah, that's exactly right. She spells it the same way.
But
Just
probably
kinda pull the air right out from them.
probably the most attractive Drew that we have. Like if we were to put a representative out there and be like,
ouch.
well, no. But like I could see.
Listener, if you can't see me, I'm very attractive. So you would probably be insulted for me. But anyway, go on. Tell us about how attractive Drew Barrymore is.
I'm just saying I could see how they could draw the line from that one to it.
No, it's too late. But also, I did do my hair for this. So
Did your hair for a podcast? You
yeah,
loser.
put on my nice T-shirt, the one that doesn't show pit stains. Very hot.
I'm actually really, really glad that you came to do the podcast because my wife and I, because once you're married, you don't have an identity, and so my wife and I, we watch so many of your videos, and it's everyone, and I want to know how you got started doing it because you've seemed to create this whole world. It's like I said this to Isaac just before you came over here. I was like, he's created a TV show that is just being watched on Instagram, which I think is like probably the future of what.
And YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok.
And YouTube, Facebook, and YouTube, all the things. Sorry. But I just mean you've created one place where there's just all of your content just right there. And it's
That
just
is
like a
very
TV show.
Kind, yeah. I appreciate that you see it that way. It's kind of how we see it, and it was not intended.
Yeah.
And I say we, you mentioned my wife and I. My wife, Andrea, is the co-creator. She writes them with me. So
Yeah.
shout out to her. And
Because a lot of your the sketches and the scripts that you have, it's all restaurant based, right?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
guys
yeah.
both worked in a restaurant together.
we met at Boneyard Bistro, right around the corner from where we're recording.
I love that. I love that.
And the backgrounds we use, the chef and owner Aaron Robbins is gracious to let us use. We took photos, and so I shoot a lot of green screen.
Yeah.
So what you're basically seeing is Boneyard Bistro.
That's
shout out, great
hilarious.
barbecue. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But we started. It was like COVID shut my job down. I was serving and I was teaching at Groundlings in the evenings.
Yeah.
And both shut down, and so I suddenly had time. And I had the wigs from the Groundlings. If you don't know, they teach sketch and improv comedy, and it's character based. So we do characters, and
Feels like you need to defend where you got the wigs, but that's okay.
I was doing wigs as a small child. My mom had this bag of my grandmother's old wigs that she wore unironically.
Really?
And they were just these old wigs, and I would put them on and run around the house. So this started way before I knew. But anyway, so I would just make videos about serving.
Yeah,
like
no,
little
let's-
scenaries.
Let's
and
not gloss over
it
the wigs
wasn't
thing,
supposed
Drew.
to be-
Drew,
oh,
let's. All right. How do you? Because the line for wearing a wig ironically and then not is so. It's thin.
I just mean my grandmother was not doing sketch comedy. I'm just saying Kathleen Sewell was not doing bits. She was, probably teaching Sunday school. I don't know why she had wigs. I think it was something where, my mom, if she could call in right now, she might correct me. She might say, "Oh no, those were great grandmothers because she had an issue with her hair or something." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I mean is the wigs were there for a true purpose, not to
Sure.
to do performance.
Sure. I just mean like it's so thin, that line between like You know, like
Yeah.
it's because you don't want to just go trying on wigs that you find, because that to another person, that's like it can be from an insecure place. That could be something that they're doing because they identify with someone who wants to try different hairs and hairstyles. And
absolutely.
have it be interchangeable quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And so but I just mean, you see a bunch of wigs, you immediately have to go, I'm going to try on all of these wigs. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially as a precocious, weird little child.
and you were precocious too, using that word as an adult too. God, man.
Just gonna
Hey,
fill
Isaac,
this podcast up.
Can we look up precocious after this? Yep. Yeah, and let's get Drew's mom on the phone.
I got her on the phone.
Okay.
Because instead of "Hey Siri" here, listener, they have "Hey Isaac."
We have a lot of feminine energy on the podcast, and that's because of me. So we have Isaac here to balance us out.
Yeah.
So sorry. Keep going.
He's very masculine.
He's
He's all square. There's no curves. It's
Ooh, that was the sound of that was a gut slap. That was a little gut tap.
A gut tap.
Isaac's our little otter. No, beaver. He's a beaver. Otters. That's
feels
the
very
gay term.
feminine, actually.
That's the gay term. But Isaac's beaver, so he dabbles. So let's go back to you and your wife. About how you guys started to do because you guys got shut down for COVID and you were in the same restaurant together. Was she your wife at the time?
we met there and we started dating about 5 years after I started working there.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
And so you guys got this idea to start putting content out that was restaurant based during COVID?
So her friend got her on TikTok to do this one particular dance that they wanted to do. And this is early. Think back to TikTok when no one was on it.
Wow.
Just kids mostly.
Yeah.
And some people were starting to notice it. I was in the camp of like, this is not for dudes my age.
Yeah.
Or comedy or any of that. It's just
Yeah.
dancing. And so I watch her do it. And then she would show me every now and then. She's like, look at this. And it'd be some funny bit someone was doing. I'm like, oh, that's funny. That's another funny thing. So I was like, well, I'm going to do a bit. So I would do random comedy. It had nothing to do with restaurants. It'd be like, you know, when you're trying to pick up your laundry and every time you pick it up, a sock falls. You pick that up, piece of underwear.
Great stuff.
So
Bring
I'm
that
doing
stuff
that
back,
as a TikTok and getting moderate reception, a few hits. And then I did
Moderate
one.
reception. I'm going to start going through my Instagram and be like, that was moderate reception.
Moderately received.
Moderate received.
Yeah. And then I did one restaurant bit and it blew up. And I'm like, okay, if they like this, I've got 22 years of experience doing this. I'm going to lean into this. And so it'd just be random, funny things that were related to restaurants. And then things would happen like, oh, we want more of this character. That's the audience voice.
Yeah, I like that.
And so we would do that character again and we'd name her Nicole.
Yeah.
And then it just grew like organically like that. And then there was a moment I needed a menu and I just needed to do this quickly, like while my kid was asleep.
Yeah.
I would knock him out like with a 2x4 and then I had like 30 minutes. No, he would go to bed.
That kid recovers fast.
Where does that joke come from? So
the kid recovers fast a half hour from a 2 before.
So I just needed a name. And
If you hit him hard enough and he's out long enough, you call it a 2 to 4 because that's how much time passed.
Because if my wife hears that joke, she will.
Okay, no,
No, you can.
we can edit it out if you want. I love it. That's my favorite thing that's been said so far.
I don't care. I really don't care. He knows I love him, or he will soon.
So, yeah, not now.
Later in life.
Just give him a name and don't ever let him choose a nickname.
Honestly, one of the side benefits of this is getting to stay at home a lot, work from home.
Yeah.
And the time I've gotten with my kids, see how I recover, has just been amazing. But so I needed a name to put on the menu, right?
Yeah.
And so his name is Hudson, and we have another child now, but at the time just one. And so it was Bistro Huddy, named after him. Slap that on the menu. Didn't know it would become a thing, but now it's like Bistro Huddy is the restaurant. These are the 4 servers. This is the head chef and the cooks and the blah, 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 blah. And it's like the regular customers, and it kind of just grew.
That's amazing.
Organically,
Do you remember the video that took off?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been a couple milestones. I was getting a pretty good following, and it was like a thing. It felt like a thing. And then there was one video that like doubled all the numbers across the board. And it was when I just it was supposed to be a one-off video of something that really happened to me. at a restaurant in Nashville. We had craft beers only, and this man wanted a Budweiser, and this is before Budweiser became politically charged.
Yeah, let's.
He wanted a Budweiser, and we're like, oh, we just have craft beers here. What? This is a Southern gentleman. Let's call him Redneck. And my family, half my family is very redneck, so I feel comfortable saying that term.
You're from where, Georgia?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, Nashville, Tennessee.
But my
Never heard
dad's
it.
side are
Sounds
like the hunt squirrel and eat 'em people.
Oh,
you know?
nice. Hunt, squirrel,
My
and eat 'em.
mom are the more like we went to college and
Wow.
but we have a mix of both.
Yeah.
And
I love that. So diverse.
so and so he comes in and he was irate about this, and I just remember this one line he said. He said, "How can you not have Budweiser? It's the king of beers."
So funny.
Which is funny because he used their slogan as like biblical defense of like why you have to have it. And that just stuck with me. So
He almost pulled up
I
penal
wanted to make
codes,
the
yeah.
video. I just wanted to make a video of the guys in a craft beer, you know, the redneck, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I called it redneck versus craft beer.
I love it.
Put it up just as a random video.
No.
I think it's at like 18 million views on TikTok alone. It
Still
probably
not enough.
Probably more than that on YouTube.
Still not enough. I've
No.
seen it. It's so good.
And so I just leaned into that
Yeah.
for a little while, but I just mix it in occasionally now because I want it to not become just that.
Yeah.
But he's a regular with his wife Pam. There's Tim and Pam,
Oh, wow.
and I've grown to really love them. They're not just rednecks to me. You know what I mean? That's what I love to do is like think of these characters as full people and not
Yeah.
just like stereotypical.
Yeah.
And make them feel like sometimes they're the good guy. Sometimes you feel yourself siding with them. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like, and I think people get that and like that.
I think so. I that's what I get from
Yeah.
it. Is like, first of all, you do so many different characters because you have so many wigs, but you also are incredibly talented in that it's not just something that's obvious. Like you really get like a full picture, and it's the combination of being like, this is subtle, but this is also like it's full. It's like there are things that I think I can see you operating as in that character that otherwise wouldn't exist if it was just flat and if it was just such an obvious choice.
Thank
you know.
you very much.
So what when that happened, you like did you start to when that one blew up? Did you start to feel like, okay, now I'm really onto something in this restaurant field? Like what made you start to want to be like, all right, let me get the chefs involved. Let me get the servers involved. Let me get the host and hostess ones are some of my favorite because they're just so.
Well, that all happened before Tim and Pam.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The chefs were the most popular characters before Tim and Pam.
Wow.
And I would say Nicole, the sassy
Yeah.
server, is up there. But like, oh yeah, the channel was fully Bistro Huddy fleshed out before I introduced those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your process for? Do you write the character down? Do you come up with like a description? Are you acting as it, and then you're just like, oh, that's a nice little piece.
Yeah. Okay. There's different ways. Like the manager is based off a real person.
Love it.
And even I stole his name. So Terry is a guy I work for. I dressed like him. The wig is his hair. Like really,
Dude.
I scalped him while he slept.
Every time Terry's on screen, I feel so bad for that guy. I'm like, dude, he's in it right now.
He's the one. So here's my long plan. Like I'm a listener. If you can't see, I'm an older man. I'm not a spring chicken. So there's a point where me playing all these characters would get weird. But
Yeah.
Terry, I could play him forever. Like he could be a 75-year-old manager at this restaurant. So my goal is like, once I age out of this, I start casting it. You know, I'll cast Drew as you know, obviously the dirty dishwasher.
young ingenue.
Oh, right.
Or whatever. Or whatever either one. Young ingenue,
But
dirty.
I
dishwasher.
could keep playing Terry. Right?
Yeah.
So but anyway, so he's based off a real person. Nicole is loosely based off my wife Andrea.
Really?
Oh yeah. At Boneyard, we called her the queen. Like she was a hostess and server, and she ran that place.
That is
If
epic.
Aaron, the owner, is listening right now, he's probably nodding his head. They're close. Like she still works for them, does social media. They butt heads a lot. They did then, but she was like, she had no problem asserting herself in a way
Yeah.
that's very attractive,
Yeah.
you know, and also inspiring. And I think that's where that part of Nicole comes from, that people are like, oh, I wish I could be like Nicole. She
Yeah.
had that. We definitely amp it up for
Yeah,
this
of course.
character, but
Of course.
she would stand her ground, so
Yeah.
to speak, in a way that was like impressive.
I really love that.
yeah.
Were you guys both working there in 2017?
Yeah,
I was there for the Super Bowl with my brother, 2000.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you got to this. I have been holding this in for so long. You ordered like 80 chicken wings, and you would eat one bite of each of them, and then literally flick them like they're footballs and say touchdown. and the more drunk he got, it would become like field goal, and then it was like 3-pointer, which didn't even make sense. And he tipped us, I think, 50 cents. So, yeah. And I'm talking
5 dimes.
And I know 2017, this is before inflation. So you're like, well, maybe 50 cents was a lot of money then. to your 5-year-old listeners, 2017, 50 cents was still not a lot of money.
Somehow 5 dimes feels like less than 2 quarters.
Yeah. Well, you have to get your hand cupped and like scrape them into your apron.
Yeah, and they get caught on the table.
Yeah.
Quarters you can easy,
And
but
the sauce.
dimes are right. There are still dimes that are wedged in between the table and the
We call
piece
it
of glass.
the Drew Lynch table.
I was there in 2017. Yeah, I'm glad my table is still up and running. And I was there in 2017. Now, do you and your wife still work there or no? You don't have to.
She
You
does.
do this now.
She runs their social media.
Really? That's so cool.
And but no, otherwise. But she's there like weekly. She takes pictures of food and specials and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and posts for them. But I go in there as often as I can. My wife is vegetarian. She was a vegetarian while serving barbecue.
Wow.
Just
Can't get high on your own supply. Rule number 1.
it's so true. It's so easy for her in that
Yeah.
situation. I got high on my own supply a lot.
Is that where you came from? Wait, hang on. Let's go back to how you got into everything that you got into. Is there been ever a point in your life where you had like a moment of adversity or some like a decision that you had to make, like to get yourself off of the wrong track onto the right one?
Sure. I would probably encourage everyone in the room to grab a Kleenex.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. I'm super excited.
Isaac, do you have any like soft music you could play over this? No.
I'll put it in the cup.
Okay. I can imagine the music playing over this.
Okay.
Adversity?
I'll
Yeah.
imagine.
Oh, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
I went through a ton of adversity.
Yeah.
Are you talking about to like find any kind of following?
I just
or
mean
personal?
personally. I mean
Oh,
personally.
yeah.
I want to be able to get to know the person behind what led them to their professional sort of footing. But
Yeah. In my, I would guess call them mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
In my 40s now, my mid 30s, I definitely I took on a nice little healthy substance abuse problem. And I've been clean and sober for over 8 years.
congratulations.
8.5 years. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Was getting clean. Because everything got better after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the darkest time, and
This was drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, it was more the drugs, the drug. It was cocaine, but it was just so embarrassingly stereotypical.
I don't know much about it. I genuinely don't. So in what ways was it
just the whole
stereotypical?
go out to LA and get a coke problem?
Oh,
and
that
then-
is stereotic. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
And,
That's the only thing I know about cocaine.
And I remember as it was happening, I'm like, I got to stop this. And oh man, I can't. There's that moment you realize I cannot.
Yeah.
And it just kind of spiraled. And it was, self-analyzing it had a lot to do with a feeling of failure. Because you get a point in your life when you're trying to do something, whatever that is.
Yeah.
In my case, it was trying to be an actor and a writer out here. And I was not achieving the success I wanted. And it felt hopeless and dark, and I was alone. And I had two very successful siblings in their own right. Not,
God, I hate
not,
them. I hate
not
you.
in
I hate your
entertainment, but
brother and
like
sister. What are they? 2 brothers, 2 sisters?
I have a brother and a sister.
I knew it. I fucking hate them. Are you the middle child? You the oldest?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest?
Yeah.
I fucking hate them.
Yeah. They're your landlords. So probably should have mentioned that before. Yeah. No, I just say that in terms of like how you feel at that point in your life when things are not going well. And like, I think that had a lot to do with that. I think I was covering up. It was like, medicating myself basically. Cause it was like, I was not like go out and party and do blow. I was like
At home blow.
I was at home blow.
You were an at home blow.
every
Introverted
night
blower.
until I would just pass out.
Wow.
Because after a
That is
while,
different level of-
anybody who's done what I was doing knows it's like, because I would mix it with alcohol and you just get to a point where it's not even really making you high. You're just literally getting numb every night. So I'd just wake up hungover and then it would.
Would you watch like Pixar or what would you do? Like what happened? In your house? Would you vacuum?
No.
What would you do?
No.
in your
I'm
house?
telling you, after like the first 30 minutes, you're just a lump. You're just like, yeah. I was hiding it from someone I was with at the time.
Yeah.
And then just hiding it from everybody. I was able to pay my bills and like keep people off the scent, hold down a job. So it was like no one knew.
That's good because it's messy.
Me and my dealer knew. That was pretty much it.
It is a messy drug. That's why I've never done it. It's just the whole idea of like it's everywhere and it's a baby powder and now it's over there a little bit
Yeah,
and
and
then
everybody
goes
makes
through
it
the
feel.
nose.
Everybody makes it feel like something you can just play around with. And kudos to you if you can. Like just at the party I do a little bit. But that's how it started. That's what I mean by embarrassingly stereotypical. It's like started. Oh, just I can just whatever.
I think I think you were brave to do it just by yourself. That's kind of cool.
It was not brave. It was literally like
I love that. Most people are like, yeah, like you didn't like crumble under peer pressure. You're like, no, I go home and I do this.
it's so bad.
This is my come down.
Yeah. It makes working so hard too, because you start to make poor choices in life all over the place.
What was the pivotal moment from
To get out of it?
Yeah.
It was this. It had something to do with serving. So Facebook I was still on my personal, I'm barely on Facebook anymore except for like my page to show videos.
Oh, same. I haven't posted in 8 years. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think 8 years. Something like that was a tweet that I thought
Yeah,
was like
it
funny.
started
It
to
was
be like I just got tired of the arguing politically with relatives thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing this for a while. I would come home and there'd be one table I served that would stick with me. Maybe there's something cute happened. It could be like an older couple and it made me feel all warm inside.
Yeah.
Or it could be a couple arguing that made
Yeah.
me like, this is tragically hilarious or whatever. And I would just write it and I called them server updates. So I'd write server update and then it like a long paragraph that I would write in kind of like a David Sedaris like short story essay form. And for the first time in a long time, I was getting this kind of really legitimate feedback from people I really respected. Not just my friends, but like, because, if you stay out in LA and you knock around, take classes, book things occasionally, doing the growlings, you start to meet people and they go up in their careers. So I had some people that were having some good success out here.
Yeah.
Names you may even know. And they were commenting like, this is really good,
Love that.
in like a well-written kind of way.
Yeah.
And like, keep these coming. And I was like in my haze and my fog. Cause I was probably writing these pretty effed up.
Yeah.
But it was like this little crack of light of like, I still have something to offer, artistically or comedically. And it was just that first little crack. That's what did it. It made me hope again for the first time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so then that was where you were like, all right, I have to try and make this
I need to try again.
effort to
I need to try again.
get clean.
I got to get clean. And also I was talking to Andrea a little bit at work. We were getting kind of flirtatious.
Whoa, that's
And
where it happens.
And she didn't know. And I'm like, I am not going to go into a relationship with this person
Yeah.
with this as like a secret thing
Yeah.
or a thing at all. So I talked to her and told her, and she didn't run screaming, She was actually, it was this incredible conversation where I was like, she's maybe the best listener I've ever encountered, you know?
Yeah.
So, that was a little hope too, you know, there's someone who, you know, I'm really vibing with. And
I think what I really love about your videos and that this all came to be from that is I worked in a restaurant for a really long time, and I think those are some of the most memorable times. And maybe that's like, there's something that's so, if you're a server, if you've been a server, or if you've worked in a restaurant, you're in the thick of it with these people. And it kind of feels a little bit like, I mean, the only other feeling that I can get is when you're in a play with a bunch of bunch of people, and you get really close to these people, and then, you know, you all kind of show up, and it's just, there's this common enemy in that it's the thick of work, you know. It's just customers aren't necessarily the enemy. It's just
no,
the
I had
thing.
a coworker who would say every shift, time to do battle with the public.
Yeah. And so
I don't know if that's healthy, but
definitely not. But I think that's what I really, really liked about your, what I really, really liked about, like, I got that same feeling, you know. I got that same feeling of just like, wow, this is crazy that this is one person doing all these characters, but they're all so different, and it still gives me that feeling. And I think that's where, you know, I think that's where a lot of people relate to it.
that's great. I love hearing that.
Yeah. Now, what about with Groundlings? Because I tried out and they didn't get back.
They never even, wait a minute. You did the audition?
I did do the audition
for the basic class, and they never told you results?
No, they did. They just wanted to charge me for it, and I was like,
Oh, you wanted a free ride.
no, I'm just kidding. I did try for Groundlings though. I did it. I actually drew Drogi.
Oh, yeah.
He was
It's
another Drew.
Teachers. He's a dear friend. And
he's so funny.
He's an incredible talent.
Wow.
If you ever, dear listener, get a chance to watch Drew Drogi do anything but improv live, it is a treat.
I mean, he was just there to like do the consult class or whatever, and he was you could just tell he just had that, you know.
Yeah, the
good people the people who are really good at improv, you have no idea they are. You have no fucking idea how good they are.
They just, they've gotten to a point where they can make something out of literally anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So they're comfortable in every environment.
And completely comfortable.
Yeah.
And I taught there for 5 years too. So it's like, that's what I try to teach my students, is get them to this point where it's not about you coming up with something funny. It's with you connecting to what someone just said and responding to it. The minute you can really honestly let go of, and it's hard for some stand-up comics to do improv because they're so hardwired the other way.
To find it and find it fast.
Find it fast. Well, yeah, and to be alone and like working on material that you plan to like keep refining.
Yeah.
Versus like, I always told them, it's like, it's not about this one funny idea you have, right? Early in this improv that you're doing. It's about what would fit perfectly in this exact moment in time with what was just said to me. And just picture like this endless fountain of ideas. Instead of you having one good one every now and then, you have an unlimited, everyone does. Tap into it. It's just flowing constantly. It's like someone didn't turn off the hose and it's just going. So you listen and then just reach and grab whatever fits right then. Yeah. As opposed to just clinging on. Yeah. Or I say, keep a loose grip on your ideas. Really loose. Yeah. Have it. Great. Have it. But let it go. Yeah. If it doesn't go in that direction, let go. Let go. Yeah. And those great improvisers do that. Yeah. So they're just listening and then they're just going to say whatever fits that moment. Yeah. And that lets all the fear go away, all the nervousness go away, because you've got the secret now. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. With your wife, to what degree is she involved with your guys'? Like, does she write all of it? Does she write some of it? Is it just like you guys are working together on polishing a script? And what's your process for coming up with a video, from script to film? She does a lot. So she's involved in the writing in most of them, almost all of them. There's some times when maybe we have 2 kids and because of our schedule, I need to write something. Yeah. But I'll still run it by her. So I run things by her. Sometimes it's her idea Sometimes it's someone will send in an idea.
Oh,
and we work on
really?
it together. Oh,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
They'll tell us a true story. I did one recently based off a good friend of mine's story that happened to him.
What?
That kind of thing. So, oh yeah.
That's so cool.
And
that
I
people
try to
send
always
them in.
write, I credit them. I ask them, do you want me to tag you and this and that? So I'll write.
Yeah.
Inspired by an idea.
I think I have
from-
seen that before where yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's different ways. And then sometimes it'll be revolving around, say, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And she can be very instrumental in like how Nicole would say this particular thing.
Yeah.
Or how she would hold her phone.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like this and she's like, you need to reshoot that. No woman would ever
Yeah.
hold her phone like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I need all. So she does that. She'll like style the wigs for me sometimes and the clothes. And then the other way, and sometimes we'll literally sit there, I'll have the laptop out and we'll just write it together.
Yeah.
Line by line. Sometimes it's like I'll write it and then she gives me notes. And then sometimes not sometimes, every time I'll shoot it, edit it together, and then she watches it before I do all the post, like green screen replacement and all that stuff, where she'll just give me notes then. And it could be like 11 at night. I'm tired. And she's like, you got to reshoot this whole character because blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
She's very brutal with
Yeah.
her notes. She doesn't pacify an ego or anything. She's just like, what would be best?
Yeah.
So I really trust her, and she's actually really comedically gifted. And the other thing she brought to the table that I did not have was this really, she puts a great emphasis on grounded and relatable. I grew up, I prided myself on being a weird kid. Like I thought that was the best. Like I liked all the weird comedians, Jim Carrey and all the ones that were the more off the wall. That's how I tried to act. And I got laughs. So I entered adulthood trying to do this weird thing, and it would hit sometimes, but like I tried for a year to have a YouTube channel with this weird character and got like 200 subscribers at the end of a year.
Wow.
And then when this started happening, I would have these ideas to do something that would never actually happen in the restaurant, but it'd be this idea. What if it did? I've got this gorilla suit ready to go, So she'd be like, no. She's like, ground it. What would really happen here? I'm like, well, he'd probably just say this. Okay, say that. And then how, so she would always pull me back. And I
love that.
started seeing the channel really, people would respond and be like sharing like crazy because they're seeing a mirror.
Yeah.
And I had been taught that by coaches, teachers. People tried to pound that into my head in comedy for years. But it took me actually doing it with my wife, who is persistent about that, to kind of really make me see the fruits of that.
Yeah.
So she brought that to the table.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, thank God she was able to.
I still have the gorilla suit, and I do have a really funny, emotional support animal idea that I want to do. I think I can get away with it every now and then.
Is there a way? Oh, you absolutely could. Ew. Just pepper it in lightly.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, emotional support gorilla. Is that the nature of your guys' relationship on a personal level as well? Is like you have a lot of big ideas and grandiose and things that are like some splashy sort of suggestions, and then she reels you
I'm
back
definitely
in?
more like I'm into bits and being silly, and she's not.
Yeah.
She has a more dry sense of humor.
Love
she
that.
can. She has a good eye for it and a taste for it, but she doesn't need to be. She'll say the devastatingly hilarious line and all
Yeah.
that, but she doesn't need to be as animated as I've always wanted to be and need to be.
Do you have any regrets in your career's trajectory? Do you ever have a point in your career, other than when obviously you were battling with substance abuse and having your struggles with that? I mean, even though you could still kind of look at that and view that as a good thing, since it kind of led you to some of the great things that you've been doing and the people that are in your life now. But did you ever have along the way where you're like, man, if I could take that one back?
Well, one part of that is I think regrets are kind of foolish because, like, for instance, you could say, oh, if I'd only 20 years ago, blah, 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 I wouldn't have had to been a server for 22 years. I could have booked that one role that would have changed everything. Well, now look at me.
Yeah.
I have 22 years of experience to draw from to create this content that has found an audience.
Yeah.
So why regret that?
Yeah.
You just have to pull back and see
Yeah.
a bigger piece of the timeline.
Of
and
course.
then it becomes like, great that
Yeah.
that happened. So we'll say that. But
Sure.
But the other part of that would be, if I could like look at it like this, instead of a regret, what advice would I pass on based off something I've learned along the way? I did the Groundlings thing, and I made it to their Sunday company, which is
a big deal.
A big deal.
It is a big deal.
And it opens up some doors, because what happens is all over town, casting directors and people go, who's the new batch of Sunday company? And they come see you. They send their assistants. They
Yeah.
all watch you.
They all cast
They
for-
bring you in for stuff.
commercials
So I
and
started
yes,
getting
yeah.
auditions, and I was not ready.
What?
As an actor in front of the camera. Like,
What? You're so handsome, though.
No, I didn't.
You told them this.
I told them. I told them, even though they couldn't see it, I told them I'm handsome. Like, who are you going to trust? Your eyes or me?
what I'm telling you.
Right? So, I mean, I did not take on-camera acting classes or sink my teeth into acting in a way I should have. I relied on just, quote unquote, being funny,
Yeah.
right? And doing the Groundlings thing. And it's not the same. So like what happens is, oh, you got to that point, they bring you in for like an under 5 where you're a clerk at a, just a bit
Yeah,
part
yeah.
on a show where they don't need a big character.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do that. And so I wouldn't book it. So I would pass on to someone, and I would tell my improv students this. I'd be like, keep taking your acting classes.
Yeah.
Don't just go, if that's what you want, everybody, whatever you
Yeah.
want, but don't just take improv or just work this muscle. Keep working the acting and nurture that, because you never know when your opportunity is going to come, and you want to be ready.
Yeah.
So I burned a few bridges in some rooms, we'll call it, in front
Sure.
of casting people, where I kind of crumbled, I was like, I wasn't ready. So when I'm not ready and prepared, that's when the nerves creep in.
Yeah.
And so I would say to people, just keep working all the muscles. Don't skip leg day.
Love that. Gosh, love that, man. And your legs look great. Do you know, I feel the same way about confidence. Like if I, in terms of preparedness, obviously preparedness can get you to where you feel more confident, but there are some people who they're able to feign that gap a little bit better. Like they can be, I noticed that a lot in the stand-up world too, where it's like they can prepare just 10% or 20% of what they want to be talking about, and then work that other 80%, and then somehow they're able to muster that's enough preparedness for them.
Wow.
I'm more maybe of the same cloth that you're talking about, where I need 90% before, and then that gap of 10% feeling like, all right, I can bridge that margin of confidence between that 90 and 100.
I would say you've as you've kept doing this, it feels more like that's probably more like 60 or 70%.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I see a lot of the clips you show and stuff are very, I don't know if it's crowd work, but you're responding to something that happened in the moment. Or I'll see like you
Yeah.
do a joke, and then like based off the reaction, you pivot.
Yeah.
And so you feel from me watching you, it seems like you.
Yeah. Nothing pisses me off more. I hate when people take me off exactly what I wanted to say. And people are like, what about me? I'm like, you have no idea. I wrote in a coffee bean today.
Right.
Anyway, that was born from me trying to submit for Comedy Central a few years ago, and I couldn't get through a set without someone like heckling me. Sometimes it wasn't really malicious heckling. Sometimes it is, but it was just heckling that was frustrating me, because with a submission, they just want the jokes. They don't want any interruptions. They just want you to get right through it. And for me, there would be parts where, back when my stutter was really bad, it would get me frustrated, and the fact that I couldn't like respond as quickly as I wanted to, because the muscles in my mouth and brain, that connection is just not as quick. Mm-hmm. So there's this phenomenon right now of just a lot of like improv stand-up comedy, like off the cuff moments. And that I think it was born from comics not wanting to burn material, but now it's gotten to a place where it's just, you know, as a viewer, I imagine people see these clips and they go, is it all crowd work? Is it just,
TikTok is full of the crowd work.
It's so much. And they perform the best, but at the same time, then it starts this beast of like people go and then they want to contribute to being that. And then.
So the audience is starting to feel like entitled more to become
like
a part of your show.
Exactly. Like they're a much bigger role. And I don't have a lot of pride, but if I were to put it somewhere, it would be on writing. I love writing and I love editing as well. And so when you're talking about your wife Andrea and that's her skill, I resonate a lot with that because I just if there's any component to comedy or what we do or stand up or videos or any of the bullshit, editing is my favorite. I love it. It's the best. It's math and writing coming together.
I agree. I think there's particularly with comedy, editing is so important. And I spent time trying to become an editor. So I would wait tables and then I would get off at like 10:30, drive to Burbank and log footage till the sun came up for this company as an assistant editor. I was certified in like Avid when I was trying. I was like, well,
these are big words that I know, but no one else will fucking know. And Avid is.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Actually, Avid could go fuck itself. I like Premiere. Sorry.
I use Premiere.
I know that we're on strike and things are sensitive.
No, I use Premiere. Okay. I did Avid because a lot of this is like
movie editing
10 years ago.
software.
And a lot of, I don't know if they still are using it, but a lot of the bigger productions.
I used to, the very first special that I did, which never saw the light of day because of contractual issues, which thank God I wasn't, I also don't think I was prepared for.
So the contract said it could only be at night?
No, the contract said.
You could not see the light of day?
You stupid idiot.
Is that too literal?
It was. No, the contract.
Just cite it, buddy. But what about this part? No light of day.
People must
Just
watch it at night.
You want the money? Sign it, you stupid son of a bitch.
God, your Southern's so good.
No, here's my Southern, mate.
Oh man, you went southwest.
Yeah, this is Kentucky, mate. Whereas if you go down to Georgia, it's more like throw shrimp on the barbie.
Oh man, you're so good at accents, but you're not. Just your geography is terrible. So, but I want to tell you about this contract because it doesn't matter and you don't care. But basically, it was over an IP, and it was basically.
You do? So do we all do. I mean, we all do. I'm glad you feel comfortable telling me that, but we all do. Okay.
No, an intellectual P. That's where you hold your chin and your penis.
Yeah. Well, let's be nice to our non-male.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you hold your chin with both hands. If you're female.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when you say something like, you say a big word. I can't think of any right now.
You've been saying them all fucking episode. That's frustrating.
Not when the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Buttocks. That's too.
Sternutation. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't matter, but basically it was just he worked on an he worked on an
intellectual
Avid.
property.
Yeah, he worked on an Avid.
So my point was for comedy, when I'm editing, I love it because literally I will remove one frame and it will make me giggle.
Yeah.
And I take it and I put it back and it's not as funny.
Yeah.
And I'll remove a frame. So I love going through editing and being like, when I cut to her, meaning me in another wig.
Yeah, that's fair.
One frame later, it's funnier.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's very strange.
It is, and there's just this pace that has to go. And with your videos too, you do a great job of, even though these characters are you, there are things that are also audio wise happening that might not be happening visually on screen.
Right.
You know, it's not they're not always the same. So, I really appreciate that about your videos, and the attention to detail definitely comes through. If you ever won the lottery, would you accept it, or would you be like, I like how things are right now? What do you think about like
This is not a serious question.
Could be.
Who would turn down the lottery?
I would.
You would?
I think I would turn down the lottery. It ruins
What are we
people's
talking?
lives.
Are we talking about $1 billion?
We're talking. I don't know in where you grew up, where that's in
No,
South
no,
Australian Georgia.
As of
but
last
that's-
night, the
Somebody won $1 billion in Los Angeles.
$1 billion in LA.
Don't tell my wife that because she didn't get to the convenience store at time. She's gonna think it should have been her.
That's crazy. They'll be able to make rent this month.
Yeah, you know
Maybe.
what? I would
LA.
not turn it down. I don't know why I would turn it down.
It just ruins people's lives, man.
But
just look at the.
but
track
why?
records.
But yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right. Well.
All right, wait, did you just judge me
Yeah. No.
because I accepted the money?
I don't know. It just feels like.
Wait, do you have a bunch of money for me?
Come on.
Oh, where is
right
it?
there.
Where is
Right.
it? Where is
Where's
it?
that $1 billion?
Oh!
Where's that $1 billion?
Is it not here?
It's somewhere. It's in
It's
an
not
account.
in that drawer.
You have Apple Pay.
Yeah, just tap.
Are you finding
Tap
is the strike affecting you right now, or does that not even matter?
Well, I am SAG-AFTRA.
That's what I was
so-
asking.
I made a video recently. It was like, we paused to be like, how does this affect us? So I called a SAG rep, and because we do brand deals,
Yeah.
right? So we have some under contract still. And I'm like, and she told me because it's this influencer agreement SAG has, which is great because I can run the brand deals through SAG and I get, and it goes towards pension and health.
Wow.
So we get benefits.
Hell yeah.
So I called her, and they're very cool over there about and easy to talk to. And she was like, "Nope, the influencer agreement is not affected. You can continue on."
That's good.
So that made us feel good. So we can keep making our Bistro Huddy videos because they're self-produced.
Yeah.
We're not we'd be striking against ourselves.
Yeah.
So you can
Which you
keep
should
making
do
your
every
little
once in a
homemade
while.
videos. You can do the brand deals. We just cannot. It affects just like any other actor. We can't audition for. Because I get calls all the time.
Yeah.
For these huge TV shows.
I know. And you have to turn them down because
No, I don't get that many auditions, to be honest. Usually it's commercials, which are unaffected as well. SAG commercials can
Yeah.
continue on. Theater can continue on.
Yeah.
But we just can't audition for or promote anything under the umbrella of the AMPTP
Right.
conglomerate of producers. So.
whether theater should continue on is like a different conversation. But I'm glad that
you're
it's
not,
still
you
canon.
anti-theater?
Oh no, I don't know why I said that.
Wow.
I grew up in the theater actually.
Drew Lynch hates theater.
Wait, hey, well, I wouldn't say that I'd like. I wouldn't say that I hate
Burn,
it.
Broadway, burn.
I just don't want to watch other people do it. That's it.
Really? Great theater is just sublime.
No, I know. No, I actually love
Okay.
theater.
Bad theaters.
No, bad theater is bad theater. But I did a lot of plays in middle school and high school. I went to performing arts, all kinds of shit.
Oh, okay. So you know theater.
I know theater. But with comments that you get online, do you read them? Do you get negative ones? Do you?
Oh, I definitely read them.
Yeah. Do you get negative comments? Yeah, I can't imagine people.
Very rarely.
Very rarely
I've
for
been
you,
very
right?
blessed.
That's like so nice. Is like your content is not like I've seen a lot of your comments, and I don't think you ever get that many negative ones.
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been very, very blessed. I do read them because for many reasons. Sometimes you get great ideas from them.
Yeah.
Someone will say just an offhanded comment, and it'll be like, oh, it'll spark a memory of like, that's a video.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's stupid not to read them in terms of just generating content.
Yeah.
But also, we really love, excuse me, I just burped into the mic, and I'm going to do it again now. Sure. No. We love creating a relationship with people that watch, followers, fans, audience, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon for people that want to get really intimate.
Yeah. What's on your Patreon?
Well, for some reason they call it OnlyFans, but it's a Patreon situation. Anyway, Nicole wig, nothing else. No. Matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to give you a little tease. No, listener, thank the stars. You're just a listener today. Patreon.com is so every Monday I do a character vlog and character
Really?
doing a little bit.
Yeah.
Once a month we do a live stream called Family Meal.
Oh, I love that.
And once a month we do character Q&A.
How do you do a live stream as where you're multiple characters on going live?
I will step aside for a second. And I used to play like a video in between. Now I'm kind of lazy about it. I just literally like leave camera for a second, put on the wig or whatever, come back, and then they can interact with that character for a while.
Wow, that's
and
so
then
cool.
sometimes we do create a character. So like we were working on a valet parking attendant last night.
Yes.
We did the live, and I had 3 wigs. I'm like, you guys tell me, what do you like? This with this hat backwards, this voice, and they just chime in and be like, wig number 1, hat backwards, definitely the surfer guy.
They're picking their PC. They're literally designing.
So we're creating Kyle the valet.
Yes.
So they get to be a part of that, and maybe one day they'll see Kyle the valet, and they have this pride of like, yeah, I had to pay him every month, but look at the pride I feel of being a part of Kyle the valet.
Wow.
And it is $1,000 a month, and there's only 2 people, but it's $5 a month. I'm not trying to pitch this right now, but it's $5 a month. Patreon.com/Bistro Huddy /Bistro Huddy. But that's a great way of getting a little closer with some of the folks, you know, or like I get really close with when they buy a lot of merch.
Yeah.
So that's www.bistrohuddy.com. No.
Now you just had your second kid.
Yeah, bistrohuddy.com. Thanks for reminding me.
You just had your second kid. Do you like being a dad, or do you feel like you fit the dad vibe well? Does it change your life at all?
Look at this gut.
I'm not gonna look down there.
Look at this.
I'm not going to.
Tell me if I'm a dad.
I'm not gonna look at that.
Come on.
I can't look
Isaac,
at.
come on. Somebody look at my gut. No, I love being a dad.
This is how guys say what's up.
Yeah, we teach our children sign language when they're pre-verbal. So this is like, what's up? Or this is dada.
The Naval Academy.
My little daughter will just be like, and I'm like, oh, she said dada. And that was kind of a dig. She came up with that one. We're like, what's she doing? She's looking at you. So this must be dada.
Is she hungry? No, she just ate. I think
This is mama. I'm making the shape of a heart. This is dada. Like,
you
hurtful,
like being,
hurtful.
yeah, super hurtful. Dude.
I like being a dad.
Like being dad.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a dad?
No.
You want to be a
I remember in college specifically saying out loud, I don't ever want to be a dad.
Yeah.
To my roommate. Because he was like, I can't wait. My friend Eddie, we grew up across the street from each other, lifetime best friends. He always wanted to be a dad. I never did. I think it was this whole track I was on. I was like, I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to be a actor, writer, director, this and that. There's no time. I have no time for anybody else.
Yeah.
You know,
just cocaine and
cocaine and
your
solitary.
evenings. Yeah.
Cocaine in the couch. The 2 C's.
Is Eddie a father? Is he a dad now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good for
He's
him.
got
He
2
got what he
amazing
wanted.
kids.
Good for him. So, but you don't like you. Do you find that having kids ever, like, do you just find the time to compartmentalize that? Is it that you found the right person?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough working at home and doing something like we do. Like, it's tough for them to understand.
Yeah.
Because my son is 4.5 and just wants to play with Dada all day.
Yeah.
We'll be in the middle of playing and he'll say, Dada, play with me.
That's
like
hilarious.
there's no end to it. So I'm like, I am. Today I literally said, we're playing. We have the toy sharks. We're playing. They're in the water. Like,
you're not playing good. It's not good enough.
What I've learned is because of preschool, they taught them to say to the other preschooler, do you want to play with me? And the other kid could say yes or no. And it was like, they weren't hurt. Like, no, like, okay. They go to the next kid. Like as adults,
that's
it's
kinda
hard
cute.
for us to not be like,
Yeah, that
fathom how
hurts.
that's not hurtful.
Yeah.
But they literally do that. So he and I might be playing, but if no one said, do you want to play with me? Then
I
we're
see.
not really.
Smart kid.
So anyway,
Verbal affirmation. I
it's hard. So we've had to have a talk with him because it's summer break now. So there's no time away. He's there all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you need to understand Dada and Mama work at home too. So there's times Dada has to go work.
Yeah.
Or I might be in the same room with you, but we're writing a video. He doesn't understand why we're not playing.
You send him to work. That kid doesn't fucking know. You were there first.
Dude, I have been trying. I every day for 2 hours we drive around and we fill out applications at restaurants.
Yeah, well.
I'm like dishwasher, busser. He's 4.5.
Sweatshop. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, and then you have a daughter.
9 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh kid.
Your wife said that term earlier, talking about our baby.
Yeah.
She said, how fresh is your baby?
It's fresh. Yeah, that's
So
what we say.
this is like a family?
We don't know how to talk about. We don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah. So
we
fresh
just
is
say
normally
fresh.
like bread.
Oh yeah.
Or-
Oh
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Food.
It's like
Yeah.
I could see how the implication could
Yeah.
come out that we would want to eat a kid if we keep saying fresh.
Yeah.
But we do say that though. Mel and I, we say that kid is fresh. Actually, you're the one who put it in my fucking head. You're the one. You're the culprit. Mel would be the one who would go, "That's a fresh kid," and I would be like, "Yeah." And now all of a
like
sudden,
that.
You see its face is like still like not there yet. You're like, where?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still half
face is
baked.
not there.
Half baked.
oh, that's why.
It needs to rise.
Again,
Yeah,
Brett.
you gotta it's like pulling out a Nectar mattress. NectarMattress.com for all your mattress needs. It's we just got one. It's one of those mattresses that comes in a box.
Nectar was on one of the top. It was on. I went and researched mattresses in 2021, and it was Nectar. If it wasn't the one we got, it was gonna be Nectar.
We'll see. We just opened it up, and it takes time,
Does
like the
this
baby,
thing.
to like
Like
yeah,
this.
it needs time.
Does
You can't just
this.
lay on it immediately.
Yeah. Here's the benefit to traveling, and I know you don't care about this, but the benefit is we would sleep in many hotels, and then we would be like, "What bed is this?" So we ended up getting a mattress from this, and being like, "What pillows are these?" And then we got these, and what sheets are these? So that was how we did it.
That explains a lot. The Motel 6 paraphernalia everywhere. Listener.
Not all of us have a Patreon, Drew.
I love you're at the clerk of the Motel 6 going, I'm sorry, what mattress is this? No, I don't care if there's blood on it or not. I'm just saying, like, I don't need this particular one. I'll take it without the blood.
And the guy in the corner of the room, who's that?
Who's that? Like, where do you guys get your strangers?
Does he come with the mattress?
No, that's cool. What mattress did you end up going with then?
Dream Cloud. Is that what we went with?
And then we have the Kimpton bed sheets.
Kimpton bed sheets. You ever stayed at a Kimpton before?
Or sorry, Kimpton comforter.
Is Kimpton a made-up word?
It sounds like it does sound like we made it up. but
No, I've
it's a
never
real
seen
thing.
that chain.
It's a modest chain, I would say.
The fanciest hotel I ever stayed at was a Four Seasons in Maui.
Oh, I've been there too.
That's where they filmed White Lotus.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that show yet. I'm a
we
huge
were
fan of
we
Mike
were
White, though.
hosted there. So
Damn it.
because our content is in hospitality restaurants.
Yeah.
Kathy Daly, shout out to her. She's been working at the Four Seasons in Maui for years as a server. And she was a fan, and she reached out. She's like, I want to get you guys here. We host influencers all the time. Why not you guys? And so she did all this legwork with the management, and they gave us, I think it was 5 nights
Wow.
a couple years ago. And we just had
Full
to fly
price.
out there, and they doubled the price. It was like,
But you
won't-
booked it, though, and that's what's great.
Well, their pitch was you don't appreciate it unless you pay for it. So free 5-night stay at the Four Seasons in Maui. We were like,
Wow.
we were like this the whole time. Like,
Yeah, that's so freaking
it was
cool.
so nice. And I still get emails from them going, selling me those mattresses and stuff like that. They actively say, do you want this beach lounger that you experienced? Like, and then
Wow.
you click on it, it's like, it's $5,000.
Yeah. And you're like, that's not us. This was
Oh.
you don't understand.
Yeah.
You can't explain to your
think
computer.
yeah, I'm sorry.
You can't explain to your algorithm
Yeah.
that that's
Yeah.
not you.
Oh, did you host us like as a way to get us to buy your stuff? No, we had an amazing stay there. They were like beyond nice.
That the Four Seasons definitely knows how to do it, and especially when it comes to hospitality,
Oh, yeah.
they're just
Aggressively.
yeah, and
aggressively nice. And
they hire people. Like I heard the hiring process for the Four Seasons is like elaborate. Like it's just like you have to be the right person. You have to have a passion for doing it. Mel, is that where we ended up eating with Jed, the server? Jeb. We ended up. It was we talk about this guy all the time because we ate at the Four Seasons, and
they have a Spago there, and then they have another couple restaurants. Do you remember which one?
I can't remember what it was.
That in.
It's
overlooking the.
Yeah. And so he just kept gesturing to, and this was caught right here, just right here.
Nice.
It was so. And then I remember that there was a server who came over, or he was just like a busser or a helper or whatever, and he came over and he like, what was the mistake he made?
Jeb was pointing out the different cheeses.
Jeb was pointing out the different cheeses, right?
Then the busser, he was fucking up how to undo the wine.
Yeah.
And Jeb just kept pausing to start over, and we're like,
Yeah, he kept
smell a video.
Yeah. He kept like pausing. Yeah, for you. Yeah, he kept like pausing to start it over. But I remember he shot the dude a look from across the thing and was like, "You're done. Like get."
That's so fun. So in Growlings, I never put this up, but I wrote a sketch about a server and a busser, and the busser kept messing up, and the server would say, "Excuse me, 1 second," to the customers, and then go around the back, and you would just hear it, "You stupid son of a bitch, motherfucker!" Just like screaming, and then he'd come back out and be like, "All right," and, continue on. The busser would come out, and he would be shaking. And so then and because of his shaking, he'd spill water he's trying to pour. And so he'd be like, "Oh, excuse me 1 second." And then she's like, and then like by the end, the busser's just like, just this like complete terrified
just
mess.
A meltdown.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Do you ever let an idea go because you're tired? Where something comes up and you're just like, I'm exhausted, like I'm overdone, I'm depleted, and I can't.
I may push it to another day.
Yeah, but
Okay, there are some ideas that took me a long time to get to because I knew it was going to be such a motherfucker to produce
it. Yeah.
Like this is going to require 12 characters, all these different changes in wardrobe. It's going to take me so long to film, so long to edit. I'm going to need all these different backgrounds. And it just feels so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And I need a video for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm not going to make that one tonight.
Yeah.
And it just, finally I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I remember there was a health department one that I knew was going to be a bear, and I finally made it, and it was well received. So
that's good because I'm sure you've put in a lot of work to a video where you thought it was going to perform much better than it did.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's just the worst.
Yeah,
it's so tough. But I guess I mean like where that world where the content is always going. It's always feeling like it has to go. Mm. And so do you ever get to this place where you're just like you feel like your back's against the wall and like you have to come up with something? Or is it just gotten to this place where people comment and you just have an abundance of these ideas?
We have a lot of ideas.
It's great.
It's just most of them are not it. But we keep them around because you never know when another idea will come along and they connect and then it's it.
Yeah.
So there's been times where I felt, man, I don't really have a good idea. We kind of like have to think about it a while. But usually we have at least 1 or 2 or 3 we're genuinely excited about.
Yeah.
I have like 3 or 4 right now that I'm excited to get to. And I hope it's always like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing though about if we had just kept doing a funny, relatable restaurant idea as a joke, it would run out eventually.
Yeah.
But by creating the characters and making it more character themed, it feels more like a sitcom or something.
Yeah.
What that means is it's not as reliant on the joke. Mm-hmm. Now people can just watch the characters behave.
Yeah.
And it opens up the door a little bit to something that's to an endless supply.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you can dig more into relationships.
Yeah.
But what we try to do is always include something restaurant relatable as the kind of heart of it, but definitely we can like make it feel more fleshed out with all the characters and it keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's it's just so smart. You've created it's like it is a TV show that people are just able to watch and kind of tune into. They're familiar with their characters. They love that they do this. They love that they interact that way. Did you ever see what it is that you do getting to the place that it's gotten to?
No, I mean, when we started doing this, I had no clue, you know. I
Yeah.
was just like trying to kill some time, and then it's like, oh, maybe this will kind of get me some exposure,
Yeah.
you know, and then it kind of got to this point where I'm like, no, this is kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream. Like, we make our own schedule. We have full creative control. We have an audience of eyeballs that would put some streaming shows to shame.
Yeah, of course.
The number of literal eyeballs on
Yeah.
a video. And we're making a living doing it. And we're getting to spend all this time with our kids. If
Yeah.
we need to travel, we do it. We want to
Yeah,
go see
for free.
family, we do it for free. You just like, it's the most flexible, amazing situation
Yeah.
you can imagine. I mean, like, yeah, I never saw that. I never.
So professionally and personally, you're the happiest you've been,
Yeah, I mean,
other than when you did like cocaine on your couch. Like,
yeah, the first few nights of cocaine. Oh my God. Oh, take me back.
do you remember what I asked?
No.
Uh,
Yeah, I've been happy. I've always been a happy person. Like, I was kind of the greatest gift I think I've ever been given is when I was 12, this basketball goal. But other than that, no, was this general sense I was a happy person. Like, my natural state is to be happy.
Wow, that's
So
frustrating.
for people that struggle with depression, sorry. No, just kidding.
That's the most hurtful thing anybody's ever said to me.
I went through
Sorry.
I thought that I was suicidally depressed for most of my 30s. Does that help?
Okay. You're a little.
All right.
But yeah.
No, I'm trying to say that I do have a natural, I've been happy, but this is the most content, and happy I've been definitely since adulthood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry, Drew. Did that really hurt you?
No, it's fine.
'Cause I don't want to just gloss over
No,
that.
dude, it's fine. You
That's
know
not
that
cool.
you know that it's fine. I'm gonna say it's fine, and then it's not, and that's what depression is. But
If I can,
what do you think about like people changing it to unalive? Like, we should still be able to say kill yourself, right? Like, that's so.
Edit so much.
I'm not editing it. It'll just get demonetized. It's your fucking show. I don't care.
oh, is that how it works? Dude.
We're gonna edit it. We'll
We?
we'll
You and I together?
we'll sit behind an Avid and we'll figure it out.
Isaac, why is he so angry?
I don't know, dude. It's just it's his vibe, and he's not. I don't know if he really is, but I think like 10% of it is really.
So, Isaac, if there's anything I've said that's put you in this place, I want to apologize because I definitely very sensitive to that.
It's fine.
Doesn't feel fine. Feels like somebody farted in this room.
I have a question about improv.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, and I don't know, but I have a question.
Please tell me you heard that because otherwise I need to go to a doctor.
I have a question about so Jim Rash was someone who was on in the Sunday Company, right?
Oh, he's in main company.
Or main company,
Yeah.
either way.
And an Oscar winner.
Oh wow, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was someone he was the reason I wanted to start to go to Groundlings. I was like, man, this guy, I love him on Community. He's fantastic.
He's
Yeah.
unbelievably.
You've worked with him.
I got to do improv on the stage with him once. He wouldn't remember it, but it was like this. They did this thing with the students. They did away with it after like a month of it, but it was called the lottery show.
Oh, nice.
So you'd go as a student, and then they'd pull names out of a hat if you
Yeah.
were there, and you get to go up and do a scene with members of the main company. And he was in it at the time, and I got drawn. I got to do a scene with Jim Rash, and I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
Him and Gary Anthony Williams are
That is.
Jordan Black, who I've done some videos with him, also of Community. I did the black version of some of the videos because he has an improv show called The Black Version.
Jordan Black. Do I not know who that is? Isaac, who is that?
Jordan Black is an actor, writer, and he created an improv show called The Black Version, where they take a suggestion of a movie and he and his all black cast perform the black version of that movie.
Oh, that's a really fun concept.
I went once when they did The Matrix and like Neo was Theo.
That's epic.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that.
And so he came in and did the black version of some of our hit videos, server videos.
That's amazing.
Bistro Huddy videos.
I love that.
And he is one of the greatest. I mean, him, Stephanie Courtney, I've got to do, all the members of the Crazy Uncle Joe show, but I don't know why I'm just going to list all the great.
No, I don't want to stop you, but I do want to just say what I want to say. Yeah. And when you're improvising, like when you start as an improviser, is it that they put you into like types? Is that what it is? Like I've heard this. I've heard like people are like, oh, you're like the tall, quiet type, or you're this. Like I've heard that they almost kind of put
Who's
you
they?
in. Just to.
Do you mean like?
That's their pronouns, but.
So I don't know because I only know groundlings. So
Okay.
like maybe that's what they do at some of the other.
Yeah,
There's some
maybe
other
that's
great
right.
improv schools. The groundlings. There is a type situation in the sense of like it's a character based style. So if you went through the program, you get to this point where you start creating your own characters. So you bring in like a character based off your PE teacher from 5th grade because that person was really interesting to you, or your aunt or uncle or whatever.
Yeah.
And then over time, after pulling in so many characters, there's going to be 2 or 3 that are really
Just
like
so good.
you just do better than anybody else.
Interesting.
And within that,
Well, you
You
haven't
could
seen
say-
me perform. Not me, but anybody else.
you could say, so for a while I did creepy characters. That was my thing at the
I could see that
Groundlings.
for you.
I did a lot of these creepy characters that people thought were really funny.
Yeah.
And I didn't intend to, but you could say that was my improv type, I
Yeah.
guess.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think, but like maybe when it came time to write sketches, people might cast me. It happened a few times where I was put in other people's sketches to play the creepy role.
Yeah.
So in that way, I can see what you're saying.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that because I mean, you really never know. Is this him?
That's
He's
Jordan.
in
Black.
Community.
Yeah.
Where is he from?
He was
Where's he from? Community.
he was the Jim Rash's like competition, like another dean, I believe.
Oh, really? I don't remember this.
I didn't see a ton of the show,
Damn.
but I just remember when we started posting the black version videos, people would go like, Dean whatever from Community.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't remember this.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff. But he's also a writer. He's a TV writer.
Yeah.
The new version of The Wonder Years. He's like been in a lot of writers' rooms.
Do you find that people who come in for a lot of these Groundlings classes, now some of the ones that you taught, some of the ones that you were part of, were they mostly writers or mostly actors?
Great question. I think it's a mix.
Yeah, because I think some of the best improvisers are writers.
So the Groundlings, you need to be able to perform also. But
Yeah.
like I through my journeys there, I definitely was in like the Sunday company with some people that were far stronger performers than writers. They could take something that wasn't particularly well written and just make it work.
That's great.
And then there's other people who had both. Jeff Grimm was my buddy in that, and I was jealous of his brain, the way he wrote. He wrote a very specific way and could mine the humor as a writer in a way that you could probably cast it with anybody and it would work because it was
that's
so
cool.
well written.
Oh, that's great.
But the Groundling style is very much, you don't sit down and write. You get on your feet as a character. And like if you and I were creating a scene together, we'd be like, all right, I have this character I was thinking. You'd be like, oh, cool. It might go well with this character I've been working on. Let's riff. And we would just out loud, we'd create a situation. Let's say they're at the grocery store and these 2 guys that bump into each other, both reaching for the same watermelon, right?
Yeah.
So as your character and mine, we'd be like doing it and
Yeah.
we'd tickle ourselves and be like, all right, keep that.
Wow.
And like we do it. And then we sit down and write it out.
Yeah.
And you'd probably look at it on the page and be like, this looks like shit. Like,
Yeah.
where's the turn? Where's the rule of 3? Where's the
Yeah.
hard case? All that comedy stuff
Yeah.
is not there. It's just, but then you see us perform it and you might be crying, laughing.
Yeah.
Because of the characters, the behavior, the subtle way we look
Yeah.
at each other,
Yeah.
which was all created on our feet doing
Yeah.
it. That's the Groundling style.
Yeah.
That's where Will Ferrell trained Melissa McCarthy, all these people that, you know, who knows what those hit sketches looked like on
Yeah.
paper, probably like trash.
Yeah.
And then if you saw them perform it, you probably fell out of your seat.
Is there anybody that you worked with, or times where you're on stage and you're breaking? Is that against the rules?
Matt Cook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a current member of the main company, and he's an actor who's been a series regular on several shows.
Yeah.
And he's in like a recent Peter Farrell Champions, that movie.
yeah.
He's an amazing actor and writer.
You're talking about Champions with Woody Harrelson?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
just
Woody
saw that.
Harrelson's like assistant.
Yeah.
The beta guy.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
So Matt Cook on stage. So he plays. He often gets cast as these beta like milquetoast guys who like are desperate to be the alpha male's friend.
Yeah.
But in when he performs in person kind of thing, he's way more the alpha. And he's very aggressive. So he there's this one sketch he did where he played a drill sergeant and starts off under a gunny sack of like leaves. You don't even see him on stage. You just think it's a prop.
Yeah.
And then the three of us are lined up, the trainees or the new inductees or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm so military.
Yeah, I love that.
And he'll just pop up and then he just starts screaming in your face. And I would say every time we performed it, like 60% of it would change. He was very loose and free and would improvise based off what he was getting from the audience and from you, the other actor.
Yeah.
And he tried to get you to break. So he'd be nose to nose with you, coming up with insults that fit. Like at the time, I think I've aged out of it. I looked like a young, like Woody from Toy Story. Kind of. I would, as a server, the most common thing I would get was like, you look like a young Tom Hanks.
Oh, interesting.
Again, I don't see it, but I don't, definitely not anymore. I don't get it. But
Yeah.
so he would be in my face going like, look at this Woody motherfucker, you know, and the
Yeah.
audience would lose it. And you're just like,
Yeah.
and then once he saw you doing this, it was like a shark smelling blood.
Oh, no.
He'd go harder. So he might, in the script, he's supposed to move to the next guy. He might spend 2 more minutes on you. Oh, you think that's, you know, he's just like doing it until you're just like trying not to break. So he was the best at that. But
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy, when I went, the reason I took classes was I saw a show on a Friday night there and she was still in the cast.
Wow.
And she did this one where they're doing a taste test for Hidden Valley Ranch. She later did it on SNL. I've never laughed so hard in my life. And I could tell she was just riffing. Like by the end, she's just pouring ranch on her. Oh my God. It's the funniest. You can go YouTube it. Melissa McCarthy, Hidden Valley Ranch, and just enjoy. But just know that I saw this live when she was just doing it
can
as a
imagine.
sketch at Groundlings. I literally fell to my knees laughing, and I signed up for an audition the next day. Like,
Wow.
I'm in.
The hardest I've ever laughed was at an improv show.
Yeah.
It was at what's the one on Franklin?
UCB.
UCB. It was at a UCB show, and I can't remember who was even in the thing. There were a few notable actors that I can't even remember. But when you see improv done well,
Yeah.
it hands down is better than any stand-up show. Hands down for me.
When it's really Yeah.
Good, and you as the audience, when you're looking around, being like, this can't be happening right now for the first time, and you're looking around like at everybody waiting to see if there's confirmation for anybody else who's just bewildered the same way that you are. I mean, it's the hardest I've ever laughed, for sure.
It's the best. And you know that it can never happen again just like this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this will never be a set. This isn't something that could ever happen, exist. That's what makes it feel so funny, I think, is like, you know, it's only happening because that line was said.
Yeah.
That line, it's built right there in front of you.
Yeah.
In this special moment in time that you're getting to share with them. The
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is try to explain that funny scene the next day to your wife.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel, it was so funny. He
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
and it's like trying to explain
Yeah.
an improv show it's just magic. It's in that moment.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. You could retell a stand-up joke,
Yeah.
and it could succeed.
Yeah.
But retelling of an improv show,
They're just going to do this the whole time.
Oh, it really ends with you had to be there. Now, last thing I wanted to ask you is, do you ever see yourself moving off of things that are not that are not Huddy related?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. But for now, it's just so geared on this thing
Yeah.
because it's working so well. It's something that that resonates with so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I have other interests and things like that. I'd love to mine at some point, but
Yeah.
you know.
Do you? Sorry, real quick. Do you, when you look for a character, is it when you meet someone? Is it when you're like, oh, immediately they do this thing and I love it, and I'm gonna tuck this away? I mean, yeah. What's your process for a character that may or may not be in the restaurant setting?
Like before all this started, it would be like out and about, take note of this person. They're behaving in a way that just seems so. It's usually someone whose behavior is a little extra,
Yeah.
a little off the charts, but not like institutional crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's mean.
Sure.
But like someone who's just behaving, usually they're acting entitled or they just have no filter and they have no ability to self-evaluate.
Self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
envy
no
people like that.
Yeah,
You
they're fun
watch
characters.
people who just like live their life. It's crazy to me.
No regard to
Yeah.
how people are perceiving them. That's usually a great character.
Yeah.
And for Bistro Huddy, it's like usually an idea will come and I'm like, oh, I need a customer. Who is this person? It can't just be a customer.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, and that's where we came up with like these kind of hipster douchebag couple that we do. And
I think that a restaurant is the perfect vehicle for a show or cultivating and creating a character because the stimulus is literally, it's coming to you.
constant.
You know?
And people behave in front of the server in a way that's just very unique. Like there's you basically have this like hour and a half with these people and they let their guard down in a way that's really bizarre.
But still somehow with a formality to it. That's where there's comedy.
Yeah.
And you get people who are experiencing conflict in a place where there is formality or there's
formality and there's this pressure and there's time constraints and there's like money being spent and there's all these elements.
Yeah.
And there's varying degrees. People, there's people that see the server as someone they want to have a really intimate experience as a part of the meal. There's people that just want you to serve the food.
Yeah.
This isn't about you. So you have to judge that.
Yeah.
There's people that get in fights in front of you. They make out in front of you.
Yeah.
They have life-changing moments in front of you. They let slip things.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy what.
Twists and turns. You don't know their relationship coming in.
No.
You know, there's just
Right.
it's just ripe with
Right.
comedy because every single thing changes. And again, the vehicle it comes to you. So you don't have to venture out anywhere. You're at that place. And
Yeah.
the fact that you just have this well of 22
Right.
years of experience with that is it's amazing.
Yeah, it comes to you. That's a good way.
And I love that it really hockey sticked for you. Like where I love hearing things about that, where it's just like it goes for such a long time where it might not be nothing. It might not be something with the success that you wanted, and then it hockey sticks at the end, like bank interest. You know, it's
Yeah.
just it very much is just like, oh, this catapulted to something special because of all of the years where you had to drudge and you had to really be in the stimulus. So anyway, I am a huge fan, and I love I love the fact that we got to do this together. Check out Drew's OnlyFans and Patreon. 4 seasons. And and then I don't really know how to end shows, so let's just not even.
Have you ever had a dream that you had to do so much you could do anything?